What is up, Petas? We are back. We're gonna be doing another character concept. So I know last time I told you it's gonna be a really big one. Gonna be big surprises. I'm gonna have to say no this time. I'm still working on it. That's basically what it is. I'm still working on it. It's really big. I didn't realize how long it was gonna take. So yeah, YouTube. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do an old one. So like I've told you guys before, I have other ones that I've done on Reddit. So if you guys want to go check those, because I don't think this current one should take me longer than putting it out this week. So if you want to go see like the other older ones that I haven't posted, definitely go check them out on my Reddit. Super cool. It's in the link in bio. But I mean, you don't have to. It's whatever. I'm thinking about like making videos out of them soon, but nothing current. But as of right now, we're gonna do an old one. That way at least I can get one out for this week, and while I still finish the really big one that I have planned for you guys. But other than that, let us go ahead and get started on this week's one, or an old one, whatever you want to call it. All right, cool. So the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster. That's me, the character this week. So this is actually like my very first one, like on the Google Doc that I have. Like is literally the beginning, literally the beginning. So that's super cool, super dope. So this one's Jane. Oh, this one's gonna be Jane Foster. She's a DPS. It's gonna be 250 health, 2 out of 5 stars. Looking at it now, I would definitely say like 3. Definitely say 3. Thinking about like how her kid is now. Like I don't know why I said 2 out of 5 stars, but yeah, no, I would definitely want her to be called the Mighty Thor. But like in quotations, obviously it's gonna be Jane. All right. So the main fire, obviously, are R2. Remember, I use PlayStation, so these are kind of the controls I use. So like if you're on console or on Xbox, kind of just transition over to like what I'm trying to say for you guys. I mean, I don't know like off the top of my head. Like I really don't even know PC controls like that. But anyway, her main ability is going to be Mighty Swing. So for Mighty Thor's main fire, she uses Mjolnir, but the one from Love and Thunder where that is shattered, and that obviously it's important to her character. So I didn't want it to just be like Thor, where she's like swinging the hammer. And I kind of talk about it in a second, but if you guys know Brigitte from Overwatch, it's kind of like the same idea. Like when she uses her like baton or like her hammer, whatever it's called, it like kind of like comes apart and like kind of like slaps you in a sense. That's what I wanted this hammer to be like. Like I didn't want it to just be like, like Thor's. Like if you guys remember from the Thor Love and Thunder movie, Mjolnir is in pieces, and then Jane's able to bring it back together and like kind of like use that to her advantage. That's kind of what I had like going into this video, or like going into this character, is like I wanted to add Jane to the game because she's a super cool character, but I also wanted to make her different than Thor, And I felt like this was a really cool like idea to play with. So this ability is similar to Thor in how she uses as a close range character, kind of like melee-ish, but the hammer is being made of the fragments, and it can reach further. Like I said, it kind of like slaps you in a sense. It'd be pieces of the hammer that stick together, and through her electricity hitting enemies, kind of like Brigitte's main fire, her hammer would be like a whip in a sense. So yeah. So the way it would look is like it starts with a hammer, and then like as she like swings it, the pieces kind of like pull out, and the electricity kind of holds it together, and like it would just kind of like whip you. So like I guess like it would be a little more distance for the Mighty Thor than like normal Thor. When she's doing her main fire. If you just wanted to see like a visual, that's why I say that's why I say Brigitte. Like that's like the visual way to to understand it, because like I can write it down, and the way you might understand like how I'm saying it may not be the exact way like I mean it for it to be said. And that goes for like all my character concepts. Like I use characters like that other people might know, like as a way to understand like visually what the ability is supposed to look like. I'm not trying to copy the character. I'm just saying like using this idea or concept, this is what it would look like based off of what you've already seen. So, yeah, because I've gotten some like Reddit comments before, like that saying like, "Are you just copying characters so you can't come up with somebody original?" Like, no, I'm not trying to copy people. I'm just trying to like use that so you can visualize what I'm trying to talk about. Because sometimes like my words are not like the most clear, so I just like try to make it easier. All right, secondary strike or secondary fire. It's gonna be shocking strike. For Mighty Thor's secondary fire, this would be a build off of the idea of using Shattered Mjolnir and turning it into a shotgun spray. So this one's really cool. I really like this one. So the pieces of Mjolnir would shoot off against enemies and then return to the hammer. So this is not exactly like Thor's. I know it kind of sounds like Thor's, but The way it would work is, you know how like Thor just throws Mjolnir and then he can pull it back? Same idea. But like, if you remember from the movie, Jane kind of does the same thing, but she's still holding on to like the handle. She just shoots out the like bits, and this would kind of be like a shotgun spray. She shoots out the bits, and then she's able to like bring them back. So I think this would be super cool because, like I was saying, she's melee, but she's also kind of like mid to long range, as opposed to Thor not being like a long range character. This kind of like breaks that ground. So rebuilding the figure after use, obviously, like I said, it detaches, goes out, and then comes back. Okay. This is about like a 2 or 3 reusability before you need a cooldown. This would be great for up close and combos. You know, let's say you're like doing whipping and then they try running away, like Black Panther or somebody, or Spider Man, you're like, no! And you like, shotgun spray them and you get them, you're like, done. So that'd be super cool. Alright. So right bumper is going to be her Behold! On this ability, Mighty Thor, you'll be able to throw Mjolnir out away from you, doing damage to whoever's in the hammer's path while on a 5-second cooldown. You position your crosshair on enemies for critical KOs when the hammer returns, raining damage. What did I mean by this one? Hold on, let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to really understand what I meant by this one. Because this just sounds like I'm copying Thor's kit. I really don't know what I meant by this one. I guess I just like it was a throw ability. I don't know. This was like almost like a year ago, so that's cool. Maybe the rest of the ability is different. I don't know. Maybe reading the rest of it, I'll understand what I was trying to say. But we'll come back to that. And what was I trying? I'm actually trying on this ability. Mighty Thor will be able to throw Mjolnir out away from you, doing damage to whoever's in the hammer's path. But while on a 5-second cooldown, you can position. Oh, okay, okay. I know what I was trying to say here. I know what I was trying to say here. So I don't know. This is basically just like the other ability I said. I don't know why I wrote this down like a long time ago, but I think basically what I was trying to say is like you throw it, and then you can hold your crosshair, like basically your hand, and like as to where you want it to come back, and it does like a crit shot. So like Thor already does that, but it's not a crit shot. He just like does damage, like when he throw it out, and he can like pull it in front of people, like pull it back onto people. So I don't know why I thought it was reinvented, like breaking, like game physics over here, but yeah, that was basically what I was saying, I guess. All right, eat my hammer. For this critical ability, this is the left bumper, mind you. A mighty Thor would slam her hammer down, causing a piece of the hammer to fly outward at nearby enemies and stunning them momentarily due to electricity power. So this would be kind of like a big ability. So this would kind of be like she, right? Okay, no. This is like an area ability. This is what I'm trying to say. So she would slam it down, and the piece would go flying out. So it's obviously, this is meant like if you're up close and you try and get people away from you, you got like 8 tanks just like drilling you. You would slam the hammer down, and they're just like boom, back up, back up. So I think that'd be super cool. But since it's such a powerful ability, obviously it'd have like a big cooldown. All right, square button. By the power of Thor. So with this ability, Mighty Thor would lift her hammer into the sky and ask for additional power lightning, giving her a 25 shield and a quick speed boost for about 10 to 12 seconds. So if you're playing Thor, like normal Thor, he's like a pretty semi-aggressive character. So this is obviously like the same idea. I can obviously see like why somebody on Reddit was like, man, you suck at creating characters, because like this kind of does just sound like Thor. But I don't know, this is like a year ago, honestly. But yeah, no, basically, she's calling on like Odin, like the power of Odin. She's getting an extra shield, that way she can just keep, doing her thing. Because like this one's like, I would say also semi-aggressive, but like a little more on the aggressive side as opposed to just semi-aggressive. Because she is a DPS. So that like it has to make sort of sense for her to be like this. But yeah, basically that's what she's doing. She's just calling on Overshield, which is pretty cool. Or like a shield ability, whatever you want to call it. Or passive, she who may be worthy. When you use the Mighty Thor, she'll have a lightning meter that rises, and once it is full, you will shoot out pieces of Mjolnir that are electrically charged, and you can stun enemies until her meter falls down and empty again. Oh, okay. Forgot about this one. All right, so for her, her shotgun spray, she would have like a passive ability where you're building up this electricity meter. So like on Thor, you have like the hammers that you built, like you're collecting. Well, on this one, you'd have like a meter where you build it up, and then once you build it up, like when you're doing these abilities and like the fragments go out, like any abilities, like your slam, your throw, your shotgun throw or something like that, it would like the pieces would tag to people, and it would be like a passive ability where once you've reached the tip of that meter, it's kind of like a stun ability. That way, I mean, I don't know how other to explain it. Like, that's basically what it is. But yeah, that was my idea for her passive ability, which I thought was super pretty cool. And obviously, it's like when you're doing your normal swing, like you can build it up and then you use it on the shocking strike, and then like the eat my hammer. Like you wouldn't really use it on the behold, but yeah, um, yeah, you wouldn't use it here either by the power of Thor. You just use it on those like on shocking strike and then eat my hammer. So yeah, like that's what I'm saying. She's like super super aggressive. You're doing all these moves and you're like really pushing people away. You're really like doing this damage like super aggressively. So she'd be like hyper aggressive, version of the whole Thor. And like I mean, Thor's already aggressive. So like obviously, like this isn't the definitive version. So like they could like really change like whatever they wanted, to make her like different while also making her like the same. Basically, what I wanted, like I wanted her to okay, cool, yeah, definitely. Like I want her in the game is like what I was doing when I first came up with this, but also like something that I do want is for like the broken hammer ability to be in the game too. Like I don't care like really what her kit looks like. I just want the broken like Mjolnir parts to be a part of her character. Like I want the slap to be in there, like her main fire, and then like the pieces ability where like you shoot them out and they come back as like also a cool idea that I think should be like if she were to be in the game, that should be how it works. Like her main like fire should work. But rest of the ability real quick. So we have the ultimate ability, the A gear. So if you guys don't remember what that is the like the ship where the two goats are in the front of. So that's the name of it. But yeah, during Mighty Thor's ultimate, she whistles to Tooth Tooth Snag Tooth Nax Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder, the two goats, who come running in with the ship, as you can see, and then behind them, making a clear path for their route, knocking down enemies and leaving that behind a trail of electricity on the ground that stuns enemies while they're in the way and dare to walk through their mystical goat's paths. So yeah, basically it just comes rushing through, leaves a huge area of electricity that if you obviously you walk into, you take damage and then you get stunned. Obviously, I wasn't very descriptive when I first wrote this, but yeah, that's what I thought would be really cool. Because like when coming up with those, like obviously I wanted to like add the character, but I also wanted to add some cool aspects that I like from Love and Thunder. Like I know everybody doesn't love the movie, it obviously has some issues, but it does have some cool ideas, and I think this would be like a cool idea for Ultimate instead of just copying Thor's. Like she goes up into the air and she like slams down. Like I thought this was like a super cool idea, especially for like a hyper aggressive character that she is. All right, real quick, I think I know what I was trying to say on one of these abilities. Give me a second. Okay, okay. So I know it's not what it says, but I remember I wanted to change this, so we're gonna do a quick little edit. So for her right bumper, so that's kind of like a special ability for characters. Instead of her just like copying Thor's like throw, because that's kind of already what this ability, the previous ability is with the shards. We're gonna change it so she has a throw, but it's an area effect. So like if you guys remember from the movies, Thor likes to throw his hammer and it kind of like swings around him and like kind of just destroys anybody in his path. So that's what we're gonna change Behold to. So Jane's gonna throw it, and it's gonna take it's gonna do damage around her. Like I'll say like 2 or 3 circles. That way, it's not just copying. That way, she's her own little character, and it also adds that hyper aggressiveness. Like you're going in there, you're coming out. You're going in there, you're coming out. So I think that definitely works. So I'm definitely excited about that. Glad I was able to figure out what I was trying to do there. Like I really don't know why I was just copying Thor's kit on that ability. All right, team up abilities. When teamed up with Thor Odinson, the mighty Thor gains an extra ability, which when available, you press the circle button and she can throw her hammer out. Okay, yeah. I should have just kept reading because that's literally just what I said. Mjolnir out and fly around a circle, hitting enemies that are nearby. Great damage, similar to the opening scene of Thor Ragnarok. I honestly don't know what I was doing a long time ago. So we'll fix it again. What I just said will be the team up, like I said. Boom. Because I know you're like, Josh, where's the movement ability? Here it is. Boom. Gonna take out the hold, like whatever it says right here. And then boom, you have a movement ability. Yeah, it's basically just gonna be like how Thor moves. You just hold it down and she flies off. That's basically what we're gonna do here, because like she has no movement ability. Like I was reading this like just now, and I'm like, wow, there's no movement ability. Like Josh, you like actually kind of suck creating characters. Obviously, I've gotten better at it. Um, but yeah, so that's definitely an upside to like watching these videos as opposed to just like reading whatever I wrote. Like I don't know, like a year ago. Is I'm giving you explanation as like as I'm talking about it. So yes. So as I said, main fire is going to be that slap. Secondary fire is going to be a shotgun spray. Third fire, or third ability, movement ability, because we didn't have one. And then four is going to be eat your hammers when you fly up, and then you come down doing that area ability, which is really cool. And then her square button, it's going to be pulling on the extra shield, which means super dope. And then remember her passive, like I was saying, as you do more damage with her primary and her like secondary-ish ability, you build up that meter for electricity, and then as you spread out the shards, then you can stun people like momentarily with that ability, that passive ability. And then her ultimate, like I said, it's going to be the ship with the goats just coming in and just like I would say like 2 or 3 times, just like leaving like huge trails of electricity. That way, anybody that walks through takes reductive damage as they're like walking through, and they get stunned a little bit. That way, you can just keep being hyper aggressive as Thor. I do think a funny part about this would be like if like if they do add that into the game, like as their like goats are going through, like they're super loud and annoying. They're like ah, like I think that'd be super fun. That'd be super super cool. And then lastly, like I said, team up ability. Even though I said it like 3 times, she's gonna throw a hammer, and this one she's team up with Thor. She's gonna throw the hammer, and it's gonna go like flying around, just knocking back any enemies in the way, doing damage. But yeah, that'd be super cool. And then possible suits. Obviously, I want them to add in the comic accurate suit. That one's really dope. I really like it. I think it was in the Avengers game and the Lego Superhero 2 game. So that was super dope. And then obviously add the MCU one. Please add Natalie Portman into Rivals. But no. So that was the character concept. I hope you guys liked that one. Mighty Thor. Obviously, there was a lot that I needed to add. I'm pretty sure the rest of my like the older characters aren't as bad as this. So I can definitely see why people are like, man, you're just copying. Yeah, I kind of was. But yeah, no. The way I just said at the end is definitely how I want the kit to look. Obviously, I already typed it out, but yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, definitely watch these videos if you're like interested, or like if you're like reading my Reddit and you're like, what the hell is Samurai saying? Like, definitely just watch the video if it's out. But yeah, like that's definitely how I would want Mighty Thor. And like I said, I don't really care how they like change her in the game. Like, there's those things that I said I would like in the game. I just at the end of the day, I just want her in the game. I think it'd be super cool. Obviously, like she's not going to be right away like she's an A character, but obviously like in the future, if they're like who would be a cool character, Mighty Thor. But yeah, I think she's a cool character in comics. I like when Natalie Portman played her in Love and Thunder. Here's my idea for in a game. Hope you guys like that. Petas, stay tuned for the next character concept.